Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CM Trading. Today is October 30th, 2019, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the major economic events of the day, lots of numbers coming out today, starting out at 2:15 South African time out of the United States. Automated data processing, which is a company in the United States, and it's a non-farm payroll number release coming out today. Now, this is a preliminary number to Friday's number, and it is very important, not as important as Friday numbers, obviously. And then at 2:30 South African time, quarterly GDP numbers coming out of the United States. And then at 4 o'clock South African time, Bank of Canada has a rate statement. We'll take a look at the Canadian dollar. And then lastly today, FOMC rate statement, a very important number at 8 o'clock South African time. And this is pretty much the interest rate that comes out of the United States. Now, looking at the markets, we're going to first look at the currencies, and we're looking at the euro bouncing after it hit that support at 1079. We're going to take a look at that and see where it could go. It's probably much range bounding. And then looking at the Dow Jones struggling to break above to 27,200-ish level. A lot of resistance there. And looking at the commodities, gold and oil pretty much unchanged in anticipation to this rate statement. And then looking at the stocks, both Apple and Microsoft finally retraced after hitting all-time highs. We're going to take a look at both of them. And this may be a deciding factor of where the market actually turns around at these levels in anticipation of these following numbers coming out later today. And then last, looking at Bitcoin, also trading on minor support, but will it bounce? Okay, that's the major question today. But let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're looking here at the Euro USD. Yes, it is a tight range. It's trading at 111.17-ish level, and I'm bouncing off of this 110.79-ish level, about a 30 pip range, which is not much to write home about. However, if it does break this area here and finds itself above this trading range, okay, if that continues later today, we could possibly see it go back to the highs. But I think we're going to be range bound trading for quite some time until there's some sort of impetus to take us higher or lower with these numbers coming out later today. Now, jumping into the Canadian dollar, we saw this really hit this bottom range here at 130-ish level. We're looking at a daily chart here. And so the question is today, if it does have this number coming out later today and does break it down on this area, this 130-ish area, if this does get filled up, we could see it further decline on the bottom side, okay? But right now it's trading closer to the resistance level at 130.98-ish level. But if it does break it on the upside, then your real next resistance is 131.57. So those are your two parameters for this morning as we enter today's session. Now, looking at the commodities, really nothing to write home about in anticipation to this FOMC number. Gold is trading right here at 14.98, very comfortably within its range, and really just huddling sideways as this number finally comes out. Now, a couple of scenarios. If it does break this 1485, then yes, we could see it back in this 1460-ish area. Okay, however, if it does take it on the high side, just remember, you've got some resistance here at 1515-ish level on the top side. So in all intents and purposes, if we look at the larger picture, we're trading right in the middle of this range. Even though that this is a support level, okay, we're still in the middle of these two outer limits, okay? So keep that in mind as that trades later today. Now, we do have weekly oil inventories numbers coming out, okay? I don't think it's going to change too much, but it's trading within also its range, not really doing much there. Now, if you look at the Dow Jones, okay, look at this. As the markets were going higher, it just didn't go higher. Every time it hit this resistance of 27,000, it sold off. Now, it's not selling further down, but when in doubt, you know, lay them out, which means let them sell off, okay? At this area, if the stocks don't pick themselves up, it may find itself selling off today, okay, depending on what the chairman decides in terms of the interest rates in the United States. So with that said, you've got a couple of options here, okay? But I do expect it to be really choppy trading until this number actually comes out. And my guess is that it's going to add some volatility to the market as these things have been taking a little bit of a rotation. If you look at JP Morgan, it didn't budge downward so much, okay, trading at 126. But if we look at Apple, major sell-off from 247-ish level to 242. Now, this is not a big deal, right? Because it went from $220, okay, or $230, its all-time highs, to $250, okay, for it to give back $5 Yes, in one day you're trading, it's a lot, but altogether it's not that much. Okay, so keep that in mind as this continues to trade later today. Microsoft also, we saw it just filling in the gap. This may trade all the way down to 141. If it does, it's an opportunity to actually buy it in anticipation it's going to bounce off of this resistance, previous resistance level, subsequent support. So a couple of options for today as the market comes out with this major news event today. Just be careful when you're trading this type of news event. Make sure to have stop losses in place and your take profits in place in order that you can also book your profits but also not get hurt on the downside. Now lastly, looking at Bitcoin, we pretty much consolidated here, okay? We're pretty much trading at this 9,000-ish level. Now, as long as it's holding this level, the 9,100 level, I don't think it's going to break further down. But as soon as this support level actually gets violated, then we may see it get back to this 85-ish 100 level for later today and going into the end of the weekend. So with that said, okay, a couple of options today. Like I said, it is going to be volatile, so just trade responsibly. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish everybody a great trading day. Thank you.